And it's getting shared off. Okay, there it goes. The sports book. I see it.
Yep. What is up, everybody? How we doing? Dear Mr. Fantasy, week number 2. Here with Barstool Mincy at Barstool HQ. Ready to take your questions, but we want to talk real quickly about Saints Bucks today. 1 o'clock. Some late scratches in this Alvin Kamara last night coming out after midnight, I believe, with him being officially out. Julio Jones game time decision. Mike Evans was questionable. Leonard Fournette questionable. They're both going to play. Mincy, how you feel about things?
Man, it's interesting. First of all, I got to say, it's a lot of fun being at Barstool. Like we're a company that's like a big Northeast and North based, and so it's a lot of fun having Cheah and the Buck Saints stuff down here at Barstool and having a little South rivalry thing. But what's interesting, you mentioned it, the amount of people already out for week 2 here on both sides, and then there's offensive line questions on both sides too. The Bucks well documented with Donovan Smith and Ryan Jensen, and the guards leaving the Saints. Trevor Penning got hurt preseason. The Saints O-line looked shaky. No Alvin Kamara. Chris Godwin's out. It's kind of wild for it being week 2. This many people banged up, and look, this is a pretty heated game. The Saints have gotten the best of the Bucks in the regular season. The Bucks have obviously been the better, won the division last year with Tom Brady. And so I know it's only week 2, but there's a crap ton on the line in this game.
Yeah, it should be. I mean, the Saints eked it out last week against the Falcons, so the winner of this game will be leading the division after today, just due to division tiebreaks. So I would say good luck to your team, but I would not mean that at all. I'm wearing the WeDat shirt in the Barstool store, so hopefully that can be a prophecy that is written by about 4 o'clock.
I've been rocking the black and gold back to boot on Sundays, and I'm going to keep wearing it till the Saints. Was one thing. This is Honey Badger's debut in the Saints home game in the Superdome, so I think that's going to be really special. I think the Dome's going to rock today too. I think it's going to be quite loud. And then the Jameis thing tore his ACL against Tampa last year, his old team. I mean, there's a lot of storylines in this one.
Yep, should be a good one. But let's quickly go through our cards. I can go first while you pull it up. Yeah. I had 2 plays that I put out. A couple more, but the ones that I'm putting out are I have the go for 2, which is the quarterback parlay. So it's quarterbacks that throw 2 touchdowns or more. It's 4 of them. It's Aaron Rodgers against the Bears. It is Matthew Stafford against the Falcons, bounce back. Russell Wilson against the Texans. Those 3 guys did not throw 2 touchdowns each last week. They're all at home this week. I'm expecting a bounce back. And then Justin Fields on the road, Green Bay to throw just 1. Something he's done in 7 of 9 games. He has 3 touchdowns in his 2 games against the Packers. So I like him to just throw 1 touchdown today. That is my favorite, or that is the go for 2 parlay. And then the big brain parlay is we like Breece Hall over 14.5 receiving yards. We like Dalton Schultz over 3.5 catches. What's the rest of this? We like A.J. Dillon over. This line moved a little bit. I have it both at 49.5 and 50.5 rushing yards. I like to smash it. He's averaging 65 yards rushing a game in his last 2 games against the Bears, and he's really taking over the lead role in that Green Bay backfield, as I told you he would. And then, again, Justin Fields over half a passing touchdown. Just throw 1 touchdown. It's very, very – I mean, the Green Bay-Chicago series is always competitive. It'd be hard for me to imagine a world where Justin Fields just does not get a touchdown pass in this game. That's such a low line. It's like minus 230, but I love that play.
All right. I'll hit with my props and then my picks real quick. I'll try to make it a little more concise because I kind of went a little off last week, but at least I was right on almost everything. I had a big NFL Sunday last week. All right, I'm under 214.5 yards on Matt Ryan today. Michael Pittman out for Indy and Jacksonville.
Alec Pierce out too.
What's up?
Alec Pierce also out.
Wow, okay. I heard he was questionable. I didn't see he was out. Indy without Pittman has a really shaky receiving core. This is only Matt Ryan's second game, and for whatever reason, Indy's lost 7 times in a row down there in Jacksonville. I know 214.5 is not a high number, but I think it's going to be kind of ugly. I went under 265.5 Tom Brady. due to the O-line issues. When you look at the Saints giving the Bucs a lot of problems, it's been because they've got a lot of heat on them. And then also Godwin being out, Julio really needs to play today because Marshawn Lattimore always does a good job on Mike Evans. So the Bucs really need Julio. I got over 46.5 yards for Jarvis Landry. He had 8 catches, 114 yards last week. Jameis and him have had a good chemistry building. Olave's a rookie coming along. All he had was a 2-point conversion last week. So I think Landry, 46.5 is good value. I actually disagree with you a little on the Rams. I think the Rams have big problems right now with Stafford's shoulder, and their O-line looked shaky, and Van Jefferson's out. So I went under 271.5 on Stafford. I think that's high. I've got over 20.5 receiving yards for Joe Mixon. I just think that's a little low, and that Burrow's going to dump it off to him. And I'm going to go ahead and throw under 255.5 yards passing on Kyler Murray, too. I just think there's big problems in Arizona right now, and they've got 2 of their top receivers out right now, too. So I'm going to go under there. So those are my props.
And wait on, there was a Call of Duty beta release this weekend, so Kyler Murray certainly up gaming. So wait, one thing before you get into more stuff is injury news has come out for the Saints-Bucs game. Julio is out, and left tackle Donovan Smith is out.
Ooh, so, wow! So the Bucs are going with Mike Evans. Russell Gage. I know he's nicked
Russell
up
Gage
too.
is playing. Yep.
Wow, that's a huge break for the Saints. Got to think they're going to rely on Fournette a lot. I know he's got a little tweaked up hammy, but Lattimore's gotten the best of Mike Evans the last few years for sure.
Yep.
And now no Julio and Gotham. I mean, that's great for the Saints, but I almost hate it for football that there's this many out already.
One name I want to throw out there, and he did a great job last week, and I think Fournette's going to have a good game. Great job blocking. He's a rookie. His name is Ko Kieft. He is a tight end, but he's really kind of a fullback. Whenever he's in the game, we're most likely running the ball. I took him for first touchdown today at 50-1. A name to watch out for. They mentioned in the press conference that he actually has really good hands. Look out for him to potentially catch a touchdown today. Odds are going to be great. It was plus 850 anytime earlier. It might be a little bit higher now based on the injuries, but a guy I would watch out for, him and Jalen Darden also. All right, Mincy, finish your card.
Quickly, I'm going to hit my other plays that are non-fantasy. I got Jacksonville +3. I just mentioned it. I mean, Indy just plays like shit down there every year. I think the Jags +3's got legs. I am also on the Saints +2.5 just because they get the best of the Bucs. I think it's a ratty line. And I have a parlay that's out. I did a back-to-boot Louisiana parlay I shared that was LSU money line. They beat Mississippi State last night. It closes with the Saints at +365. I'm going with the Washington Commanders as a slight underdog at Detroit. I think it's a little wild that Detroit's a favorite. I've got Cleveland. Cleveland's really public, but I still like them by 6.5. I'm also on. I forgot to mention I'm on under Joe Flacco today. They've got O-line problems. They're gonna struggle. I got the Atlanta Falcons +10.5.
How many plays do you have today? You've literally taken every prop and every game so far. How many plays do you have today?
I've got like 10. And then finally, my last one's the Raiders by 5.5 over the – I just think Arizona – I think Arizona is the team that's worse than people realize. I'm going against them right now. And I might take Green Bay Sunday night, but we'll just see how the day goes. So that's what I got. And I want to thank all our listeners for joining us. We got a crap ton of questions. And, I'm here to fire. What can I say?
Unbelievable.
Hey, gamblers going to gamble.
Expect
What's up?
You're all over the board. You're all over
I mean, I have like 9 plays. What are you going to do?
All right. Let's take some questions. Let's start with Nick Solis. Burrow or Stafford? I personally like Stafford today in a bounce back spot. Burrow also in a bounce back spot. I just think the Bengals are going to dominate that game. I think that the Dallas Cowboys defense is a little bit underrated. They played a really good game last week. Burrow coming off, I think it was four interceptions. I certainly see him bouncing back, but I think that game's just going to get salted away. Oh, great.
See, I kind of think that Dallas might fight a little more than people think today. I know the Bengals are favored by 7, and everybody's writing off the Cowboys after that Sunday night thing. Like, I kind of think the Bengals grind out a win today. And I know I've kind of bagged on Stafford, but I still think you probably got to go him at home against Atlanta over Burrow on the road here. So I don't have a problem with that.
Let's let you take this, Mincy. Dalton Diamond, Mike Evans, or Curtis Samuel? Curtis Samuel, 11 targets last week, couple carries too.
Man, this is like one of those things because I mentioned Lattimore does such a good job against Evans. but it's like one of those things where, like, I know Samuel had 11 targets, and that's a higher over-under. But, man, Evans is the number one, and there's no Julio or Godwin. And even with Evans struggling in that series, I just don't think you could bench Tom Brady's number one for Samuel, who's got McLaurin and Dotson, 3 guys. And so it's kind of one of those things, Evans has struggled, but I still don't think I can put him on the bench. He's just a star.
I do think that the injuries for the Bucs makes Russell Gage, if you have him on your team, I think he's a must start now as a number 2 wide receiver. Let's go. We're kind of taking 2 questions here. Austin Greer, do you like Debo today? And then Joshua Williams, Debo or DK? Who do you like, Mincy?
You said Debo or DK?
Yeah.
Well, you said there's some weather out there in San Fran. I think I'm going to go Debo because they also use him running the ball. And then we also saw Elijah Mitchell go down last week. And the Niners losing last week. This is a division game. They need to win this game. So I think they're going to use Debo a lot of ways. And if it's weather related, I kind of think Geno comes back to earth a little bit this week too. So I'm going Debo here.
A sneaky fantasy pickup for people that are looking for a potential stash, maybe have a guy that they don't think is going to pop for a few weeks. They can cut him loose. One guy to watch for is Jordan Mason. I heard a lot about this on fantasy Twitter this week, but also I did a Friday night prop research stream, and there were some Niner fans in there that were saying Jordan Mason, the beat writers are saying throughout camp, Jordan Mason is the guy. Or the clear number 2 behind Jeff Wilson Jr., who I feel like is almost always nicked up. So that is an interesting add if you have the availability for it. I think he's a guy that could pop. All right, let's go. Whoops, everything refreshed. All right, Michael Kent, help me out, boys. A.J. Dillon, Chase Edmonds, Travis Etienne Jr. for the flex spot. It is standard, so no PPR. I'll take this one because A.J. Dillon is one of my favorite plays of the week. I've been saying all year, I had him as RB12, and everyone was calling me crazy. I was like, this is the guy to own in the Green Bay backfield. He had more than double Aaron Jones touches week 1. I don't think that really changed. Aaron Jones, 27. We see guys fall off a cliff at 27 years old. You have to be aware of 27-year-old running backs. Alvin Kamara is one of those. Dalvin Cook, another. Derrick Henry's 28. You got to be aware of that number. Austin Eckler's 27. I'm not saying Aaron Jones is dead at all. I think he's a viable play. I think he's kind of an RB2 at this point, but I think A.J. Dillon has low-end RB1, very high-end RB2 potential. His over-under is 50.5 rushing yards today. I love that. I think the Packers win this pretty handily and can salt the game away with A.J. Dillon, so I really like him, especially in standard, even though he did prove last week he can catch the ball.
All right, we got a full Jeff Bodner, who's a diehard. We appreciate his support. He's got a full-point PPR. Darrell Henderson, Deontay Johnson, or Curtis Samuel. This is interesting because of all the Cam Akers crap that's come out. Mm-hmm. Henderson, I saw his over-under 59.5 yards today, so it looks like he's probably going to be getting a lot of the carries. I just don't trust Trubisky right now. I mean, even though they won last week, it certainly wasn't because of him. Curtis Samuel's kind of hot because of the 11 targets. But I think I'm rolling with Darrell Henderson here just because of what happened with Akers last week. Full-point PPR, I know Samuel's considered, but I still need to see a little more. I'm going to go with Henderson here of these 3.
I like this question from Cougs12 for PPR. DeAndre Swift or Leonard Fournette in the flex. So if you're starting 2 regular running backs, I mean, these guys are both RB1s. So if they're your flex, that is quite a luxury. Both of them a little bit nicked up. I feel like it's really I love Leonard Fournette today. It's really hard to sit DeAndre Swift if he's healthy. I know Jamal Williams got goal line carries last week, but DeAndre Swift is such an electric player when he's on the field. He would be my guy to start.
He's a little nicked up, but I think he's going to go.
They both are. Yeah.
Yeah. That I know that. Jeff Bodner's right. Please like the stream, upload it. All right, I got a question here. I'm trying to get the ones that are. Appreciate the guys that are the super users that pay. I'm trying to make sure I get those. I will get what happened last night. Best fantasy show in the freaking game. Pick 2 WRs and a flex and full-point PPR. Gabe Davis, Hunter Renfrow, Curtis Samuel, Michael Carter, Montgomery. Gabe Davis, I'm a little worried about today. I think they've been a little quiet, but he's nicked up too. Go ahead.
Hey, Mincy, when you pick one, can you just click on it because then it'll pop up on the screen?
Okay.
You just said it, but let's take this one.
Okay, how do I click? So just click
it.
That's it?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I clicked it. Whatever. Okay. Still learning new things here, boys. I'm a little concerned. If Gabe Davis was healthy, I'd start him. I actually think Renfrow had a crappy game last week, but I think he bounces back. Chargers have a good pass defense. Arizona does not. So I'm going with Renfrow on the bounce back. And then I'm going to go – this is a tough debate between Samuel, Carter, and Montgomery. Carter got a lot of the PT last week. I know you were frustrated with that as a Breece Hall owner. Yep. But I think I'm going to go Renfrow and Samuel here because of his touches and the fact that this is a full-point PPR. And Montgomery had 17 carries, 26 yards last week. I mean, that's a little rough.
Yeah. I did hear something also on the prop research stream was that a lot of the beat writers were kind of urging why didn't Khalil Herbert get more yards and why was he so much better than David Montgomery? And the Bears coaching staff was pretty much like the offensive line just did a better job on those plays. Like it wasn't really a Herbert is better than Montgomery, just like the line happened to open up holes on those plays.
Well, as a David Montgomery owner, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. Let's take the super chat that we just had from Chance. Pick 2, Brandon Cooks, Cordarrelle Patterson, David Montgomery, or Kenyon Drake. Mincy, you just talked about David Montgomery, so why don't you take this one?
I don't like Cooks at Denver at all. I think Houston's a lot better at home. When you look at their last year, their home road splits, you got to. So Damian Williams is out 4 weeks with a rib injury. So Cordarrelle's the guy. You know, we saw last year Cordarrelle was real hot early and kind of ran into a wall late, but he's still pretty fresh, even though they used him a lot. He had over 100 yards last week. Also, like the design of their play calling in Mariota, I think it's a little tougher to stop. So I'm going Cordarrelle. What J.K. Dobbins trying to go today? Did you ever get a final report on him?
He is not playing.
Okay, I'll go Kenyon Drake then. Without Dobbins, I'm going to go Kenyon Drake and Patterson.
All right, let's go with good time. Michael Carter, Dameon Pierce, or roll the dice on Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis just showed up on the injury report, so it is very risky with him being in a Monday night game to play him. What is good and kind of works on the side of good time here is that there are 2 Monday night games. So if Gabe Davis, for whatever reason, can't go, you know, you can pick up a Titans wide receiver. You can pick up a Viking like KJ Osborne, I would think is available. So you have options. And I'm not really bullish on the Eagles receivers outside of A.J. Brown, but you have options here. I do think in a PPR league, I love Dameon Pierce, but it'd be hard to not go with Michael Carter here just because you know he's playing. He got 8 or 9 targets last week. He had 60 rushing yards, 100 total yards. They're playing the Browns today. I really like his over. It was 40.5 rushing yards. I think that's a really low line for a guy that, you know, had 60 and I think it was 10 carries last week. So I like Michael Carter today. What's one you want to take?
Click on it. Sorry. Spencer Black says Zach Ertz or Albert O, the Denver tight end with a hard one to pronounce. I'm going with Ertz just because Arizona's got all these receivers out. Somebody's got to catch the ball.
Yeah. Yes, I agree with that. All right, let's go with Matt Recupero. Michael Pittman Jr. as we go. Rashad Bateman or Brandon Ayuk. This one is interesting because I think Miami-Baltimore is kind of low-key the most fascinating game of the day. J.K. Dobbins is out, but we saw last year when they played, Miami whooped them. They won 22-10, and what they did was they just had a lot of exotic fronts, and they basically did cover 0 the whole game, which was just blitz Lamar and let the receivers try and beat them. I have a sneaky play for this week, and I really liked him in preseason. He had a great preseason. He did nothing week 1, and it's Isaiah Likely because he's a tight end. They can line him up in line. They can put him in the backfield. They can even split him out wide. They can disguise him however they want, but he's a mismatch against linebackers and safeties, really. So he's a guy I think could have a breakout week. But as far as these two, Rashad Bateman or Brandon Ayuk, Bateman is the number one. He should have the opportunities, but even though, you know, with the potential rain and all that stuff, I'm going to go with Brandon Ayuk just because I feel like his floor might be a little safer. They can give him carries as well. And he's just a run after the catch. Like they're going to manufacture touches for him. So I kind of like Brandon Ayuk over Bateman this week. It's matchup dependent.
We're going with Nathan Edgar, half-point PPR, pick 2, Curtis Samuel, Mike Thomas, or Devin Singletary. Definitely going Mike Thomas, 2 touchdowns last week, is over 62.5. He's kind of back, despite what Mr. Cheah says. I'm going to roll with Curtis Samuel over Singletary. I don't trust Singletary. Zach Moss got a lot of time last week. And then also he asked Niners D at home against Seattle or Saints D against the Bucs. I may be a Saints homer, but I'm starting the defense that's playing Geno Smith over the one that's playing Tom Brady, just period. Regardless of my fan allegiance, I'm going with the Niners there.
Mincy, I've got one more for you from Michael Novella because it includes your guy. Pick 2, Allen Robinson, Michael Carter Jr., or Elijah Moore, PPR.
So the Allen Robinson thing's fascinating because he didn't do anything last week, and Stafford, the preseason, they hadn't really.
McVay talked about it. McVay said he wants to get him more involved.
Yeah. That's what my point is. He needs to, and then Van Jefferson's out too, and I actually think that Van Jefferson thing hurts them more than people realize. He gave him a good number 3 last year, so I think they're going to go Allen Robinson. God, I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm going Allen Robinson and Carter. I love Elijah Moore. He's my boy, but I don't love Joe Flacco, and I think Carter has a way safer floor because he's going to catch it and run. Cheah looks pensive, but I don't trust Joe Flacco.
I do want to point out, in Joe Flacco's 1 start for the Jets last year, Elijah Moore, 11 catches.
Yeah, well, Moore didn't have a great game last week, but
he did not.
No, I don't know. I'm going Carter and Robinson. I'm sorry, Elijah Moore. I still love you for getting me to Barstool. I agree with what Cheah's saying, though, man. The Rams really do need to get Robinson involved. I mean, it just is what it is.
Michael Kent, Lamb, or CeeDee Lamb, or Cortland Sutton, half-point PPR in the flex. This is tough because I think Cortland Sutton I think Russell Wilson has a really good day against the Texans today. I think the Texans are a decent team, but I think the Broncos, Russell Wilson's home opener. They also had so many issues around the goal line last week with Melvin Gordon and Javonte both fumbling. I think that he's a pretty safe bet for 2 passing touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb, really bad week 1. 2 catches, I think it was 29 yards. He had 11 targets, though, and I did watch the tape the whole game. Obviously, they played the Bucs. I was paying extra close attention to CeeDee Lamb, and he wasn't terrible. He had a catch called back due to offensive pass interference. A lot of them were just off. Dak was really bad. Like, even before he left the game, he must have gotten hurt earlier because he was way off, like, the whole game. They were a lot better with Cooper Rush in there, even though Cooper Rush wasn't great. It'd be really hard for me to bench CeeDee Lamb. Cortland Sutton, I think, does offer a little bit safer of a floor with Russ. He is the number 1 receiver. They are going to try and throw it down the field. So this is a little bit of a bold take, but I'm going to go Sutton. I do not – if you are a CeeDee Lamb owner, I would not trade him yet, though.
Yeah, I wouldn't either because I actually don't think Cooper Rush is as bad as people think, too. But we'll find out on that today. I got a question from Spencer Fry. He's got Kareem Hunt or DJ Moore, full-point PPR. I know Hunt had a good week last week, but I'm still rolling with DJ Moore, full-point PPR. Robbie Anderson did have the better game last week, and I know it's a Mayfield, but I still am bullish on DJ Moore this year, and I'm not benching him off 1 week.
I like this one from Darren Waller or Pat Freiermuth. I know the Steelers tight ends had success against the Bengals last week, but you cannot bench Darren. Like, if you have Darren Waller, he was a top 5 tight end for you, maybe a top 4 tight end, maybe even a top 3 tight end if you got ballsy with it. There's no way you can bench him for Pat Freiermuth ever, and you should never carry a second tight end. So I would say not only bench Pat Freiermuth, but drop him.
Josh Curl, Derek Carr at home against Arizona, or Kirk Cousins at Philly. Pretty simple. Arizona looks like crap. Carr had a bad game last week. I think it's a bounce back spot. I don't trust Kirk Cousins on Monday night. I don't like him as much on the road either. So I'm going with Derek Carr here.
Sorry, I could not find that comment in time. Are you not able to click it?
I'm clicking it. What do you mean?
Oh, it's not showing up on the screen.
Okay, I'm clicking it and highlighting. I don't know what to do. What else I'm supposed to do?
Okay. All right. Let's go. Ooh, this is an interesting one from Ben Hilgen. Pick 2: CeeDee Lamb, Russell Gage, Brandon Ayuk, PPR. I think you got to go Lamb. I think you got to go Gage. Ayuk, of these 3, I think is the worst. Gage didn't play good last week, but now they have 2 of their top receivers that are ahead of him out. I think it's a big opportunity for a guy who went to LSU.
I've got a super usual one. It's half PPR. Start 1: Hollywood Brown, Allen Robinson, Ayuk, James Robinson. I think I'm going Allen Robinson here because of what you said about them trying to get him the ball today.
Okay, sorry, I'm not.
I liked Ayuk some, but the weather thing in San Fran concerns me.
Yeah, Horizon Fios. Yeah, I mean, it was showing rain. I don't think it's going to be like last week with Chicago, San Francisco. But yeah, that is always worse for receivers inherently. Let's go with another super user, Gbot. I know it's nasty, but I need a PPR flex. Good Lord. Eno Benjamin, Romeo Dobbs, Tony Pollard. That is nasty. So let's eliminate Eno Benjamin right off the jump. Tony Pollard against Cincinnati. There's some appeal there, PPR. I would go Romeo Dobbs. Personally, I just think that this is a potential. I know Alan Lazard is back, but I think that he has the opportunity in a game where Aaron Rodgers feasts against the Bears in his last 4 games. He has 14, or no, in his last 4 games against the Bears, he has 14 passing touchdowns. I think Dobbs absolutely has a shot to score today. So Romeo Dobbs would be my play in that group.
I like it. I have no problem there. I just think it's a very obvious bounce back Green Bay situation. I'm feeling like a Green Bay 27-10 type win.
Yep.
All right. Let's go. Brandon Johnson's got a question. He says Travis Etienne. My bad. I'm double clicking on it. I don't know why. Whatever. I'm trying my best.
It's there.
Oh, okay. I was clicking the wrong thing. I got it figured out now. All right, Travis Etienne or James Robinson, full PPR. I'm going Etienne just because of the upside catching the ball. I know Robinson's back off the Achilles, but the full point PPR, I like Etienne in the passing game.
Yep. Let's go with Dylan Hibbets. Half point PPR, bench 1, Zeke, Jeff Wilson, Josh Jacobs, or Chase Edmonds. Half point PPR. You got to start Jeff Wilson. I think you got to start Josh Jacobs. So it's between the two, Chase Edmonds and Zeke. I kind of like to bench Zeke. And I know Chase Edmonds didn't have like a great game last week, but he did get carries. I just think Zeke's time is really done. Like I really am like he's a big name for sure. And he looked okay last week. Like he had a little bit more burst, but in this group of guys that are all, I think, flex playable, Zeke is the guy to bench. And he's probably of this group, as far as draft-wise, he was probably your RB1.
I got a question from Alex Brunstrom. Jerry Jeudy, who finally had a good game on Monday night at home against Houston, or Jalen Waddle at Baltimore. Well, I know Waddle has the worst matchup. I just like his role on the team more. And I have faith in him. They also give him the ball in a lot of ways. So I'm going Waddle here, even with the worst matchup. I just have more faith in him.
Okay. All right, Saints question. I'll let you take this. Full point PPR, Mark Ingram or Chris Olave against the Bucs today?
I'm going more. I know Olave is going to get going, and I like him long term. But he all he had was that 2-point conversion last week. And Jarvis Landry at 8 for 114. We saw Mike Thomas the big fourth quarter. Look, no Kamara. Ingram's going to be out there like crazy. He's going to be catching passes. I just think he's the Ingram floor versus the Olave floor are just totally different. I think Ingram's way safer, so I'm going with that.
Yeah. All right. Liam Nash, I need 2. Hunter Renfrow, Curtis Samuel, or Rashad Bateman. Renfrow didn't have a great week 1. I think he had 6 targets, 3 catches, around 36 yards. Curtis Samuel, obviously a big week 1. I do think that he has legs moving forward. He missed basically 2 years and is now finally healthy with the Commanders. I think he can be a weapon. Rashad Bateman, I have concerns about this matchup. He could have a big day, but it's all going to come down to if he can break one against this, what I would expect to be, a heavy blitzing front. And he's going against Xavier Howard and Byron Jones. Those are 2 really good corners. I should mention that obviously Mike McDaniel came in. They have the same defensive coordinator as last year, so I think they're going to play in a very similar game plan. This is going to be a huge game to see if Lamar Jackson is like very much, I like contract extension wise, like if I'm the Ravens, I want to see like, all right, can Lamar figure this out? Like I would anticipate a very similar coverage scheme to last year. So I'd bench Bateman and go Renfrow and Samuel.
All right, Drew Porter 08, Cordarrelle Patterson and James Robinson, flex PPR. Great show, boys. Thanks. Cordarrelle Patterson for sure. I just love it. Without Damian Williams out there, I know that the BYU kid, I always forget how to say his name,
Tyler
Algier. He may debut today, but it's Patterson right now. So he's got that. He's getting that split. I like his percent, how much they're using.
All right, let's go. Oliver Abrams. First world problems here. Javonte Williams or Antonio Gibson, PPR. I think in every format, Javonte Williams is going to trump Antonio Gibson. And I know Brian Robinson's out. Antonio Gibson had a nice game last week. But I think matchup regardless, Javonte Williams is the play here. He had, was it 13 targets, 11 catches week one? Like in PPR, you absolutely cannot bench that. I know Antonio Gibson is a good receiver too. J.D. McKissic is there in the fold as the third down guy, but Javonte Williams is your horse. Ride him to the end. Never bench him.
This question from Dylan. He says, should I start Allen Robinson in the flex over someone like Chase Edmonds hoping for a bounce back after week one? Yes. Period.
Let's go with, and just a heads up, everyone, we're going to wrap this at about just before 12:05. We have to get this downloaded up on a blog before, so it can be published at 12:15. So we will be ending these just after 12 moving forward. So we'll take 3 more questions.
Loving all the questions. Good turnout again. Appreciate y'all.
Here we go. Ron Pattison, half-point PPR. Mark Ingram, Breece Hall, Tyler Lockett. As much as it pains me, I think Ingram is the play here. I don't think he'll have like a great game, but he has a great chance to score. He's going to be the guy. Typically he's not a huge pass catcher with Kamara. With Kamara out, I do expect him to catch a bunch of passes. Breece Hall, I think, is a sneaky play for today. His over-under of 14.5 receiving yards, I think, is wildly low. I talked to some Jets people this week, and they expect him to be the third down guy moving forward. Michael Card had a really bad drop in the end zone for a touchdown on fourth down last week. So I'm bullish on Breece Hall, but Ingram, I think, is the play today.
Okay. All right, let's go with another one from Chief. He says Darnell Mooney or Jeff Wilson Jr. flex PPR. I know Mooney gets a lot of targets, but I'm still gonna roll with Wilson because he's starting for the Niners today. I am a little concerned about the time split thing you mentioned. I don't know how much faith they really have in him, but I think a bounce back Niners effort's coming, so I'm gonna go with him.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know why these aren't coming up on the screen for you, and I'm not able to find these in time. All right, let's go one more. Here, Mincy, I'll let you take this one. Justin Cohn, Jacoby Myers or Robbie Anderson? Robbie with an IE coming off a pretty hot week one.
I'm going with Robbie because I think Baker pushes the ball down the field more than Darnold did. And I just don't – I don't see how you can want to start anybody in the New England passing game other than, maybe Hunter Henry. But just the receiving core thing's a mess. Mac Jones is not throwing for a lot of yards. I'm going with Robbie Anderson here for sure all day. Yeah.
Mac Jones also with a back injury. So
he had an illness. He had a weird illness this week, but he's playing today.
Yeah. All right. This has been fun. Viewers, thank you for staying throughout. We're at, happy with the viewership today, but thank you. Hopefully we have a good week 2, and hopefully our bets cash, and hopefully Mincy's team loses.
Follow at FFF Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, and follow Cheah and me on TikTok. I'm going up after this TikTok world now, boys. Watch out. It's a new day. And thank y'all again for the support. And who dat say going to beat them Saints?
We dat. See you guys.